what I'm going to do is going to take this camera, I'm going to toss it into the air as high as I can, as far as I can, with all the power behind my arms, and let's see the kind of shot that it captures. So here we go. Right. So I am actually a very big fan of action cameras, and that is starting from the days of the GoPro Hero 4. And why I was into that, because of my active nature. Well, back then, I was into biking a lot, I was into running, I was into swimming in the open waters, and that was because I was participating in triathlons quite a bit then. So action cameras were suitable for me, because when we go out and cycle in a pack, having an action camera to capture all those fun moments, it was important. So the go-to camera at that point in time for action cameras was basically the GoPro. And of late, the Chinese have actually come up with their versions of the action cameras, and DJI is no exception. So the initial iterations of the DJI action cameras were gimbal stabilized, because DJI, their heritage is in gimbals, their heritage is in drones, right? And therefore, those Osmo action cameras in the initial iteration had a gimbal, but having a gimbal means that it is, sure, of course, the shots are going to be great and stabilized, but it does mean that there's quite a bit of limitation in terms of how much you can put them through, because they are definitely going to be a little bit more flimsy, and the clamping and all is just not going to go underwater anytime soon. The GoPro was fantastic at that. I think from the Hero 7 onwards, without the case, you could actually go underwater already, and that asked for us to capture some really great shots underwater. Fast forward from the GoPro to the DJIs. The DJI has an Action 2, and the Action 2 is actually kind of modular. So they have two components. One is the camera and the sensor itself, and the other one is the screen with the battery. And that is the start of a modular system. Now, what I have here today is the Insta360 1RS. Now, they're going to be dropping the name 1 from the naming convention, so it's just going to be called the Insta360 RS. But basically, it's the same camera, and if you look at it, it's a modular system. In other words, the battery, the core with the screen, as well as the lens with the sensor, is actually completely removable. This is the Insta360 1RS Twin Edition, and the Twin Edition, it comes with two cameras. One is the 4K camera, and the other one is the 360 lens. Now, individual lenses, they have their own lens and they have their own sensor, which is different from lens to lens. There's a third version, which is the 1-inch sensor, and that was co-engineered with Leica, and that I don't have it here, but it's something that I probably want to get, depending on how much fun I derive out of this setup. So let's just zoom over and see what you can get out of this entire setup here. Okay, so what you are seeing right here are all the cameras as well as the accessories that come. Some of them are optional accessories, but this is the original packaging that comes with the camera itself. Now, I'll just go and talk a little bit about what comes in this particular box. Now, the first thing I'm going to point out is this particular module here. Now, this is the core module, right? You see a power button and you see a record. And this is the 1RS itself. Now, if you look at the connectors, there are two sets of connectors, and I'll explain why there are two sets. But basically, this is the brains of the whole camera. All right, so what you do is that you attach one of the lenses. Now, what I have in my hands right here is the 4K boost lens, and the 4K boost lens boasts a 2.4 F2.4 stop 16mm equivalent lens. All right, and this is 4K capable. Now, you can actually attach it such that the lens is facing forward and you have the screen at the back, or you can flip it the other way if you're going to be taking selfie shots. You connect it, and the lens is facing you and the display is also facing you. Now, this screen is pretty small. It's a small display, much smaller than the GoPro. But one advantage of having a small screen is that it doesn't overheat that much. Now, the next part of this to complete the entire equation is that you need a battery. So what I have here, these are two batteries. This is a charging dock, and you can actually connect two batteries to it, and you can charge via one connection, right? So I'm just going to take one battery out. You slide it to the bottom. This battery is an improved capacity battery from the previous version of the 1RS, all right, which is the 1R. This is the 1RS, all right? So when you click it in, the entire setup is now complete. So it has just turned itself on, and you will be able to see what you are taking from there based on a here, all right? So you can see what you are looking at. So from here, you will be able to see that it has started recording because I powered on using this the record button, and right away it starts recording. Now what you can do next is to actually change it to the 360 camera, right? I'm going to power this off. In order to swap lenses, all you need to do is to remove the battery, basically disassembling the whole thing, right? Remove the lens, put it back down. So this is the 360 lens. The 360 lens requires two connectors, right? And there is only one way that you will go in, right? Because look at the base of where it is. You will see that you will need both. The other side of the lens, if you try to do it this way, you don't get the catches that will have to be necessary in order to latch the battery on. So this is the battery. You just plug it in from here, and again, you're good to go. So the whole camera is assembled. I'm turning it on by pressing the power button, and here you go. It is now started up and booted up. You can actually change a couple of modes here, but the most important one when you're using a 360 camera is of course to use the video mode. So this screen is actually touch screen, and you can actually make some changes to the settings right here without using the app. Of course, you can download the app into your iPhone or your Android devices, and you will be able to control the camera using the app that is running on the device. But I do find that in a regular shot that I was trying this camera out with, I did not have to use the phone at all, because basically all the settings can actually be adjusted using this small little touchscreen. The screen does go off to save battery and to prevent overheating, so just a note to make. So this dual lens 360 here, you'll see that it is a f2 lens and the equivalent of 7.2 millimeter. So 7.2 millimeter is basically as fisheye as it gets. And when you actually use this camera, it corrects all the distortions such that when you're looking at any particular point of view, all the lines are still going to be straight and it's not going to end up curvy. All right. So you do need to learn how to use and export 360 videos when you're using the Insta360. Now, there are a couple of other accessories that come with the camera. Notably, this is the cage that comes with it. Now, the cage is actually very interesting. There's only one button and it releases the cage, all right? And you can then put the camera into the cage, slide it in, close it, and that's it. It's done, all right? And some cages actually have the trouble of not allowing the ports to be accessible, but this is all right because it has a huge cutout. This is the memory card slot as well as a USB-C slot. And this USB-C slot, you can put in things like your mic adapter, for example, where you can connect an external mic or even a wireless mic to better enhance the audio. And talking about audio, on this particular Insta360 camera, if I were to take it out, the mic is actually built in right at the top. The mic is actually doing surprisingly well. In the later footage that I will run through and show you, you will hear that all my recordings are actually recorded through the mic itself. Now, this particular casing here, it has a foam covering. Actually, you won't be able to see it very clearly, but it's just right here. And this particular foam covering will cover the mic. So if you're outdoor in a windy condition, it acts as sort of like a muff to actually cut and reduce wind noise, right? And there are padding around the whole camera itself. And these are like your heat pads, right? And it will suck the heat away from the camera in order to keep it nice and cool and operating well. Now, I have not had the camera overheat on me. Granted, I haven't been recording for an hour or so. I'm not sure if your recording or your usage will require you to record for an hour, but in the time that I was using this, even under the sun, it was actually doing pretty okay.
right? So this is what it is. And this particular mount here, okay, there is a quarter-inch thread, and this quarter-inch thread will actually enable you to mount to a selfie stick. Now, this selfie stick from Insta360 is touted to be a invisible selfie stick. So in other words, when you are taking 360 camera angles, right, and you stretch it all the way out, even when you screw around, you're not going to see the selfie stick. Again, I will show you the demonstration in the video footage that I have taken. The selfie stick all but disappears from your shot. So it is actually pretty useful. Another very fun accessory is this thing right here. Now, this is the bullet time accessory, right? If you unlock it, okay, what happens is that this top part will spin freely, right? And when you remove this, you see that there's a thread here. Mount this selfie stick onto the bullet time accessory, and when you start swinging it around and recording, it actually does it like a bullet time, like those that were made popular in the Matrix. Okay, it's going to be very hard. Maybe I'll switch it over to this angle and take a look at this, and this is how it looks like. Okay, of course, you can extend it out and you can get a bigger angle and bigger coverage. Okay, so we will be taking a trip outdoor, and I don't usually film outdoor. I'm not a great photographer and not a great videographer. I don't really know how to use the camera indoor, outdoor, whatever. Basically, I'll be demonstrating to you the 4K camera as well as the 360 camera. And I thought of something. I thought of throwing this particular camera with a 360 camera and toss it right into the air and see what kind of shots it captures. And I did exactly that. So let's head out and find out exactly what happened. So in some parts of the world there are 4 seasons, but Singapore is slightly special in a way that it only has 3 seasons, and that is hot, hotter and hottest. So today it is a slightly overcast day. It's not so hot, so probably the first season just hot. Alright, but the sun is not bearing down on us, so I don't have to squint my eyes that much, and it makes for perfect outdoor filming. Now, I am filming on the Insta360 RS, and this is currently handheld shot on the tripod, well, on a selfie stick, and you will be able to pan around. I don't actually have to hold the camera in any specific position to catch myself, so you can see what's around me, what's in front of me, without having to tilt the camera in any way. Like if you were to do it with your mobile phone, you probably got to switch around the front facing camera and the rear camera. So here we are right now at the edge of this particular field, and there is the actual I don't know whether it's a river or a drainage, but it basically flows through the entire park connector network. Now, there are a couple of things that this camera is capable of because of this selfie stick, and I'm going to try that. I'm going to be extending the selfie stick all the way now. Alright, so you don't have to reposition the camera. You can actually point the selfie stick out, and the onboard computer itself will mask the whole stick out so that you can still see it. Now the thing is, now the mic is slightly far away, so it probably won't be able to capture the voice well enough. Okay, so there's another cool drone shot which I can try doing this. Okay, so I can just keep walking as per normal, and it seems like a follow shot, right? So that's how it looks like. There is flow stabilization built in, so the shot wouldn't look so jarringly shaky. What I'm going to do is going to take this camera, I'm going to toss it into the air as high as I can, as far as I can, with all the power behind my arms, and let's see the kind of shot that it captures. So here we go. Right. Not a good idea. Okay, so that was probably not a very good idea. I just stepped into a puddle of mud. Now it's looking very dirty. I think it probably survived the shot. It is still recording, so we might as well throw it upwards for another try. Okay, it has popped out of the case. So, yep, the case has popped out. So
So this is how dirty it's looking right now. It landed in some mud, but okay, let's see. I'll clean it up and we'll be at it again. Now there is an interesting mode, which is the bullet time mode. One of the things that I was very interested and excited to try out, because bullet time was made very popular by Matrix, where you have single position where the subject is and the cameras are panning all around. So I'm going to try that out, and it's made possible with this particular selfie stick that has a rotating piece on ball bearing. Let me show you an example of how that looks like. We are switching to a 4K sensor. This is not a 360 camera, so you will be able to see that there is some limitation. It is similar to a 16mm field of view on a full frame camera. I'm going to flip the camera around, and this I have to do because it is not a 360 lens, and I will start running and we'll see how that goes. I will mount it. Okay. I have not been exercising, so this run is taking out quite a lot from me. So I'm going to be putting in the camera on this case, and we'll see if it manages to get some more decent shots. I'll be heading up very soon because the season has changed from hot to now hotter. I'm going to start running, and you can see how great the stabilization is. I'm not trying particularly hard, just walking around and running by. This is taking way too much out of me. I'm going to be heading right back up.
Alright, so we are back in the studio. As you have seen, this is a wonderful tiny little camera, which I think I might actually bring on my trips. In fact, my wife has been complaining that sometimes I bring so much camera gear that I spend so much time trying to take care of the camera gear, switching camera, switching lenses, charging the batteries, and transferring the files, that, you know, it is not very easy to share, right? Because you take a picture on the camera and you can't actually transfer it to the phone easily. So if you take a photo on your camera on your phone, you can actually just share it out via WhatsApp or whatever social media platform that you're using quite easily. So this is actually a very small camera, capable of 360, and when you do 360, you don't even have to care about framing at all, right? Just take the shot, you can reframe it later, and it happens for photos as well as for videos. And if you are actually watching this, you might be one of two groups, right? You might be the group that has been watching my channel for wireless audiophile products, for Sonos products in particular, and you are looking at this video and say, what is Peter doing with this 360 camera? This is not part of what the channel is about. Well, yes, but because there is certain reach on this channel, sometimes companies like Insta360 do reach out and say that, hey, you know, let's work together to try to reach out to more customers, reach out to people like yourself who might be interested in looking at this, because you do have a life beyond wireless speakers and Sonos, right? And to capture that life, this is something that you can consider. Now, if it is not your thing, that's fine. Now, if you are the second group of viewers who are coming to this because it got recommended to you because my keyword says Insta360 360-degree camera, you might actually be interested in this, and there is an affiliate link for you if you do decide to purchase. Now, you're not going to be paying anything more when you click through on affiliate links. The affiliate links will earn me a small commission, which is payable by Insta360 itself. If there's something that you need, if there's something that you buy, you can use those affiliate links to support me and the work I put into this channel. You don't actually have to buy them to support me. There are other ways to support me, like subscribing to the channel, clicking like or commenting. Anything is fine, up to you. Just by watching my videos, you are already helping the channel. If this is something that you want, do consider buying through the affiliate links. They help fund the channel and keep the channel going. So till then, and another product review later, I will see you.